All right, if you're gearing up for your GCSE in computer science, you know that nailing the fundamentals is absolutely key. Today, we're going to tackle a massive one, count-controlled loops in Python. And I promise, by the end of this, you'll feel way more confident about those tricky exam questions.
So let's start with something we've all been tempted to do. Imagine you need to print hello 8 times. Your first instinct might be to just, write the print command and then copy, paste, paste, paste. I mean, yeah, it works, but it's clunky, right? It's messy. And in programming, there is always a smarter, cleaner way to get the job.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down exactly what iteration means. Then, we'll meet Python's go-to tool for this, the for loop. We'll see it solve a pretty cool problem, check out some advanced controls, and then wrap it all up with a super handy exam checklist. Sound good? Let's go.
Okay, so what is this big idea, this smart solution to doing the same thing over and over again in our code? Well, it has a name, and that name is iteration.
Get ready to jot this down because this is your classic exam definition. Iteration is simply the process of repeating a block of code. Now, for what we're doing today, we're focused on what's called count-controlled iteration. That's just a fancy way of saying we know exactly how many times we need to repeat something before we even start.
I love this slide because it shows you the logic before you even see any real code. On the left, you've got pseudocode, which is kind of like a rough draft for a program. Now, for I equals 0 to 7 might look a little technical, but just look to the right. In plain English, it just means do this 8 times. And that is a super important point for your GCSEs. Counting from 0 to 7 is 8 steps. Remember that.
Okay, so we've got the concept down. Now let's look at the actual tool Python gives us to make all this happen. It's time to officially meet the for loop.
A for loop is powerful, but it can't just guess how many times you want it to run. It needs clear instructions. And in Python, it gets those instructions from its best friend, a little function called range. You can think of range as the boss, telling the for loop exactly what its job is.
And here you can see them working together perfectly. Let's look at the code. That line, for I in range 5, that's the magic. The range 5 part tells the loop, hey, you're going to run 5 times. The little variable I is our counter. Now check out the output. See how I starts at 0 and only goes up to 4? That's a classic exam trip-up. Range 5 gives you 5 numbers, but they are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, not 1 to 5.
So printing a line 5 times is neat, but that's really just scratching the surface. Let's see how loops become an incredible tool for solving much bigger problems.
Think about this for a second. How would you add up every single number from 0 all the way to 100? I mean, you could pull out a calculator and start punching in numbers, 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3, but man, that would take forever, and you'd probably make a mistake. So, how can a loop just solve this for us in an instant?
And here it is, the beautiful 4-line solution. First, we make a variable, gauss, and set it to 0. This is going to hold our total. Then the loop, for num in range 101. Now, why 101? Well, remember, we want to include the number 100, and range always stops one number before what you tell it. So range 101 gives us numbers 0 through 100. Inside, we just say gauss is equal to gauss plus num, which just means take the current total and add the new number to it. That's it. And the result of those few lines of code? Bam! 50-50. Instantly. That is the power of iteration. A task that would take you or me minutes of careful, boring work is done by the computer in literally a flash.
But wait, there's more. The range function is even more clever than we've seen. You can actually give it more detailed instructions to control how it counts.
So far, our counter has always just gone up by 1, but what if you wanted to count in 2s or 5s, or maybe even count backwards? You can do all of that. You just give the range function a third piece of info, a step value. So here's the full recipe. The first number is your start point. The second is the stop point, the number you go up to but don't actually include. And that third optional number, that's the step. It's the size of the jump you take each time. Let's trace this example together. Range 0, 10, 3 means start at 0, stop before 10, and jump up by 3 each time. So the loop starts, and I is 0. It prints 0. Then it adds the step, 3. So I becomes 3. It prints 3. It adds 3 again, I becomes 6, prints 6. One last time, it adds 3 and I becomes 9. It prints 9. The next jump would be to 12, but that's past our stop point of 10, so the loop just stops. Simple as that.
Okay, deep breath. That was a lot. Let's boil it all down into the absolute must-know facts for your exam. This is your final revision checklist.
Let's run through these. First, a for loop is for count-controlled iteration. That's its main job. Second, range 5 runs 5 times and the counter goes from 0 to 4. Crucial. Third, to include the number 100, you need range 101. Fourth, remember that loops are power tools that solve big problems with just a little bit of code. And finally, you can use that third argument in ranging to specify a step. If you can remember these 5 points, you're in a great spot.
So I'll leave you with this question. You now have this powerful tool in your coding toolkit. You understand the logic, you've seen the code. So what's the first repetitive, boring task you can think of that you could now automate with a for loop? Because when you start asking that question, that's when you really start thinking like a programmer.